to Multiply Your Why, a Missio podcast. My name is Andrew Spikes, CEO of Missio.
And I'm Alan Dragoo. I'm the Director of Strategy here at Missio.
And today we are talking about the difference between branding and marketing. This is actually, as we were prepping, a kind of a complicated topic.
It is. It can be confusing.
It can be confusing. But ultimately, if you can nail this down, this is what will set you up from just being an amateur marketer to being a professional marketer.
Totally.
If you can figure this differentiation out and know how to leverage it to your advantage. And so, you did a lot of awesome prepping. I don't know if you want to kind of set the stage and set up of what the high level difference is between branding and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and people do ask this. People ask a series of questions of what is the difference of branding and marketing. That's kind of be what we're diving into today. And a lot of people also do the chicken and the egg. Which one comes first, branding or marketing?
Good point.
And so people do that. But the high level differentiation between branding and marketing is the idea that branding is who people say you are when they experience you. And we were kind of talking about this earlier. Like Apple's a great example. Like when you think of Apple, and I say, hey, what do you think of when you think of Apple? You're probably thinking alongside terms of like luxury, simple, innovative, clean, technology. You're thinking of those. That's brand, right? Excellence. That is how you experience them holistically. That's brand. But
when you say McDonald's, what do you think?
Cheap.
Poor quality.
Yeah, poor quality. Right.
Fast.
Fast.
Predictable.
Yeah. Sorry, I just landed on cheap. But marketing is that brand's positioning of what they want you to do with their brand, right? I say that well?
Yeah.
Their positioning of, the way that they position, McDonald's will position fries for 99, get a large drink for 99 cents, get a large fries for 99 cents. That's marketing. They are positioning themselves for what they want you to do with their brand, the next step they want you to take with their brand. They're putting themselves out there in a sense of, hey, this is who we are, do this, right? Buy this. That's marketing, right? It's action-oriented, where brand is experience, where iPhone may position some ads to sell you a phone, and when you get that phone in your hand is brand. That is how it feels, the way you open the box, the experience, the emotion behind that is their brand. But them selling you the phone was marketing. So that's...
And I think a lot of, when we say amateurs versus professionals, is I think professionals see branding as a marketing effort, right? They are very intentional about saying, hey, we are going to purposefully invest, get behind about our brand so that it does this down the road, right?
Yeah.
We are investing in positioning Apple to be this brand so that it can be we ultimately want a transaction out of that, right? We want them to think about it in this way, talk about it in this way, so that they buy more products. So I think that's where, professionals really play, is thinking about branding as a play to get to the end result. Otherwise, if you are not thinking about it like that, we thought about the shop around the corner cleaners, like a small business who doesn't, honestly, they just don't have the resource, time, and energy to think about branding. All they care about is marketing, like transaction. The tough part about that is it's very short-term play, and it can be really expensive to keep on investing in that if you don't invest in the foundation of the brand long-term.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense because, and I know we were talking about this earlier, and I've thought about this. Somebody much smarter than me had told me, you either create or you allow brand.
That's right.
You either create it or you allow it, meaning you are either very intentional about it, and even if you're not intentional about it, you've allowed your brand to happen. Whether it's we are the Walmart is kind of the low price, low quality, easy entry point where, you know, you wouldn't position. That's kind of around Walmart's brand, where Target is a little bit more mid-tier, where it's a little bit higher. Those are difference of brands, so they're going to market differently, but they're very intentional about it. You might not be so intentional about your brand, right? Or actually, a lot of people think brand is their logo. A lot of people are like, my brand is, I thought that was like my logo and my colors and my typography. I'm like, kind of. I mean, that's the most visual part of your brand, but that's not the most holistic part of your brand. Like when I asked you about Apple earlier and I said, well, what do you think of Apple? You didn't say, you didn't say an apple with a bite out of it. You didn't think of the logo at all. You thought of simple and luxurious. So yes, logo and colors and typography are a crucial part of your brand, but that's not all of it. And you're right. You can use a brand to position yourself to market to the right people, because who reacts to your brand is dependent, and how they react to your brand is dependent on who you market to. But that's marketing, reaching the right target audience.
Yeah. Branding, if you had to, and I learned this the hard way, and I failed at this because I like more of a performance marketing aspect. I like the advertising. I like that direct response. But to be honest, as I've failed more and succeeded more, I have learned to put more and more of my resources in branding for the long-term success. Because if I don't do it now, I will certainly pay for it a year, 2, 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
Because you'll always be reactive to a direct response if you don't invest in the brand now.
Yes. I think that's a great way to think about it, because marketing is significantly more short-term and agile than brand, right? Brand doesn't change. I mean, not a lot. Let's say that. So like we rebranded recently. So like prior to us being Missio, we were Church Marketing, right? Which is a different brand, but we rebranded into Missio, and we're building the brand of Missio, our perception, the way people talk about us, our trust, the way people trust us, our reputation. Your reputation is a big part of your brand, right? Those are more long-term things where marketing is more methodical than it is mission, right? Brand is more tied to what are we trying to accomplish? Who are we trying to be our trust? So that's more mission long-term, where the methods that we use to market are way more short-term and agile.
Yep.
We may change our marketing methods a lot.
Yep.
Right? We may run LinkedIn ads as a marketing method, and then we decide that's not working. We're going to change this, and so instead of that, now we're going to do organic content marketing, like this podcast or whatever it is. So marketing changes a lot. Brand should not change a lot. In fact, if you change your brand a lot, you're going to whiplash your people.
Yeah, don't do that.
You're going to whiplash your people a lot. In fact, I have a very specific example about this especially for those who lead in churches right now.
And then I have one for business. You go first.
Perfect. That is perfect. For church, a lot of people will ask, and I'll be on the phones with a lot of people like, hey, are sermon series still a thing? Because a lot of churches are stepping away from sermon series. And a lot of churches still dive into sermon series, like it's the hottest thing. And sermon series is a very dangerous territory for churches' brands, because honestly, a lot of the time they will position sermon series more than they will position their brand holistically. And so they'll position talking about sermon series. It's everything. They do a financial series, and for 4 weeks, they're all about finances. We're all about finances and being good stewards and honoring God. And then for the next 4 weeks, it's a marriage series, and they're all about marriages. And so you're positioning your brand and everything that you talk about and everything you build on, and how people experience you and your visuals and the touch points and how you write copy. And so they have all these emotional connections to your sermon series, and then you change your sermon series in 4 weeks. And so you whiplash your people every 4 weeks about who you are, and it's never rooted into something holistically. And so sermon series can be really dangerous if you don't have a strong brand that you're actually tying things to. So a lot of churches will have conversation. I'll say, but but why are you doing a financial series? And why are you doing a marriage series? And why are you doing this? And they're like, well, we're all about families and we want to help families. I'm like, that's your brand. Your brand is we're all about families. So instead of saying you're all about finances, you're all about families. So now you're doing a financial series to help families. It has a bigger umbrella to tie to. So that's just kind of dangerous territory with sermon series and churches and navigating brand, and which honestly leads to your marketing. But anywho, that's a rant. Give me
it's a great segue. The brand supports the purpose.
The purpose. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And that's why, and your comment was dead on, where you either let it happen or you're intentional. You said it so much better than I did, but you're either intentional about it or you let it happen. We suggest you be very intentional about it.
Yeah.
And when we say intentional, you have to say, well, like, this is our purpose. Therefore, what brand as an organization, what brand supports our business or our organization's purpose?
Yeah.
Or even like an objective, like a long-term objective. And I'll give you a real-world example for this. I may have brought this up before. So in my days at UPS, we went through a massive brand overhaul.
Oh, yeah, you've talked about this.
This also keys in on what you said earlier. It's not the logo.
It's not the logo.
The UPS logo stayed the same. Whether you put a key line around it or not, made it 3D, it doesn't matter. The logo is the logo. What we found through all of our research, and we did a brand perception study, a qualitative and a quantitative study, and we found that a lot of people perceived the UPS brand as an old white man brand.
Interesting. Very interesting.
An old white man brand.
Huh.
It's been around for 110 years, right? I get the old part, right? The old white man brand. It's a very corporate brand. And the challenge with that is it's not, A, it wasn't inclusive. B, our target audience, where we got the most amount of return and profit, this is public information, you can go to the quarterly earnings reports, is that the most amount of profit per piece and profit per customer came from small businesses.
Interesting.
And small and medium-sized businesses. Well, small and medium-sized businesses were not the old white men type persona that we were trying to attract, right? That would have matched like a larger, massive customer, like a Macy's or something like that, to ship a bunch of packages. But if we're trying to get, a small tools, shop that's doing e-commerce, or, a Shopify store, right? If we're perceived as an old white man brand, that did not resonate with our audience. And it was not progressive. It was not inclusive. And so what we did is we launched a campaign. It had to do two things. It had to drive sales. It had to drive like the bottom line and shipment of packages. But it also had to change the brand perception of the brand. It had to go from, this stuffy brand persona to aggressive and performance-based. And that's where the campaign Be Unstoppable came from. And you can you can go on YouTube and find all the ads. But if you go look at those ads and look at those ads compared to the ads from, What Can Brown Do For You or We Love Logistics, the makeup, the style of those ads, all of that was different, and it was on purpose. And what we did is we did a pre and post. How did you perceive the brand before this campaign? Now that you watched it, we did these little focus groups. Now that you watch this ad, now what do you think about the brand? And so I say all that to say, brands should, support the purpose, should solve a problem. You have to be intentional about it. Otherwise, if you just let it happen, UPS would just stay an old white man brand and will always be that way and eventually have a massive problem.
Yeah.
On their hands.
That's a great example of how marketing helped change the perception of brand, because obviously you have to position yourself differently, market in that way, repeat effort, get that in front of people, and then obviously that, I'm assuming it changed the perception of the brand.
It did.
It did.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It worked. So you can use marketing to change the perception of your brand, and they do go together, and kind of tying into the first one of the questions I said in the beginning, and we'll wrap it up. But the idea of which one's more important, or which one comes first, the chicken or the egg, brand or marketing. And I don't know if you want to dive into that at all, real quick. I mean, I have thoughts.
I do think that. I think that if you do it really well, I think that brand is a part of one of your marketing efforts. I think that's how
unpack that.
I think that marketing is like the massive umbrella. And under marketing, you have brand, you have pricing and promotions, you have direct response, you have performance advertising, you have all this stuff. I think that the brand is a massive pillar of your marketing. So when you say which came first, the chicken or the egg, I think you have to say, well, what are we trying to accomplish marketing-wise as a whole? And brand has to be like the staple pillar of that. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't think you should pigeonhole marketing as, and I don't want this to come across at all, that marketing is just direct response. Marketing is just performance. Marketing is this. Marketing is all of it, of which branding is a massive pillar to the whole thing. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Let me know if you disagree.
I don't. In fact, I've been very heavy brand focused for such a long time, and marketing focused, but I've always been a big fan of just brand experience, of how people experience you and navigating. But at the end of the day, if you're an organization and you're trying to do something meaningful, whether you're a church or your business or anything, at the end of the day, you're solving somebody's problem. And if that's what your organization is here to do, which it should be, I'm saying that very clearly. If you are an organization, you should be solving somebody's problem. And if you are solving somebody's problem, that means you are for somebody. And if you are for somebody, that's marketing. That's marketing. You are reaching somebody, you're solving their problem, you're focused on their problem, you have a target audience of unique people that you are uniquely trying to reach. That's marketing. And then when you reach those people, how they experience you is brand. So just be ready to understand that when they experience you, that is your brand. But if you're not reaching anybody and you're not solving somebody's problem, which is marketing, what's the point of brand?
For sure.
That's that's just, you could have the coolest logo, the coolest website, you could be this luxury product, whatever it is, but if you're not actually reaching somebody and solving their problem, then you're not doing anything. And so at the end of the day, I do think marketing is the umbrella. Everything is marketing. Every touch point, anything that light shines on that your company is doing, that would be a piece of marketing. And in that, when people do experience that marketing, how they experience it would be a brand touch point, but they can't experience it if you never market to them.
For sure.
So it's not sleazy, it's not bad, it's not salesy, it's just part of being an organization. So I agree with the umbrella.
Yep. I hope this has been helpful.
Hope so.
It is a very chunky topic.
Yes.
And, I hope you can walk away with knowing, this is what it takes to be a pro marketer, like a high-end expert marketer. We hope it's helpful. If you are facing any tension point in your organization around, maybe you just don't know what to do next. Maybe you don't know how to execute brand. You don't know how to execute marketing. You're struggling with strategy. Or maybe you just need some resources to help come alongside you and be a partner. Visit missiodigital.com. We'd love to help. We have some free resources. You can talk to Alan. His headshot's right front and center on the homepage. And, man, thanks so much for listening to us. We've enjoyed hanging out with you.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next one.